welcome to another edition of Cavalier Family Show. I am your host. My name is Todd, and then today we actually have a special guest, the other co-host, who is TJ, on to the other side of me today. This is actually the second time recording this. The store. Lost TJ. Yeah.
On Apple TV Plus.
Excuse me, sir. We don't allow meetings in here.
Oh.
You don't have to go somewhere else.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that is awesome.
We found out that you can't record in an empty room at the library. Who knew? But let's go ahead and kick off. As some of you already know, we are an independent studio, and on the show, we will be discussing life entertainment from the big screen to, of course, the small screen to independent films. Still looking to do a little review with Velociraptor, or I'm sorry, Velocipaster is the actual name of it. So it's on Amazon. So still looking for somebody to watch that with me, review it with me. And of course, we will be discussing TV shows, cartoons, and video games. First off, we would like to also thank Mr. Kevin Holmes, as well as Justin Dye, who's done the videos for the intro and outro. Justin Dye did the music for the video and outro and many of the other musical elements as well. We'd also like to thank our special little researcher, Mr. Stephen Dawson. He is new to, of course, Cavalier Family, but he's helped out tremendously. Of course, Cavalier Family is one of those independent things where it is an actual business, but of course, with no money or revenue coming in, we all have to have our regular day-to-day jobs. So with that, running a family, he's relieved a lot of stress and a lot of work off of our plate. So thank him for that. As far as updates go, we're looking to, of course, do the filming after the holidays for a little add-on to the trailer for the independent film that we're looking to do. So be on the lookout until after January for that. But other than that, of course, it is the website. We can't push the website enough. If you guys would like to take a visit, we do have all designs there for t-shirts, mugs, backpacks is another one, stickers, sweaters, hoodies. Everything is designed around each show. Of course, this being the show of 1991, there are a few themes in there that you may notice from when you were a kid, cartoon-wise, preferably or specifically on Nickelodeon. So go ahead and take a look at the shop down there. Link is in description, as well as until January 2nd, we are running a promotion where if you put in code HolidayCav, that is HOLIDAYCAV, you will get 15% off on all your purchases that are in the store. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and click that link, show your support, because every profit goes towards independent filming, podcasting, and anything that actually takes away money from a business. So go ahead and show your support that way. And also like, subscribe, and follow us on all social platforms. That is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And with that out of the way, of course, we have our special guest, Mr. TJ here. And TJ, how are you doing today? And anything new?
Always good, man. How you doing? I'm sure there's plenty new. I don't know what. It catches me off guard because I never know how to answer that question because everything's new technically every day. But
okay. So you were on the vacation a little bit though. That's kind of like how we were trying to record the first time.
Yeah, we got a few minutes in, and then whoops, internet was spotty there, anyways. But yeah, we're here now.
Yes, that's exactly it. We are here now. You are, showcasing the wonderful Christmas holiday over there in your background with your awesome looking little hat.
I was just thinking about this, so when I take a drink, it's probably gonna be all weird. Yep.
That's okay. I'm right there with you with the water next to me. So
like I'm holding the tree.
Yeah, you are holding the tree. There you go. Or like one of those little Debbie cakes that you have, little pastries.
Oh, forgot about those.
Yeah.
Remember like cosmic brownies? I used to get those at lunch at high school all the time.
You used to? Dude, I still eat those. Like we'll go to the gas station and get one of those big ones. They're still delicious.
I save my calories for beer.
That's fair. That's fair. So So have you watched any new recent movies or played any?
I just actually watched 8-Bit Christmas, and I didn't know how I was going to feel about it with the preview, but it was pretty good. I'll be
Okay.
honest with you.
So I talked to Justin last week about this. So go ahead and give us your take on it. What did you think? How did you feel?
I just think it was a solid movie. I think it's probably the best Christmas movie to come out in at least a few years. I'm not gonna say it's like classic, add it to the list of like you have to watch this every year, but I'll probably watch it every year coming up just because it involves Nintendo and just that feeling of being a little kid, a little nostalgia, and it's got I don't know, I think I can't name like the movies it references and everything, but it kind of tries to combine some Christmas movies
Yeah.
with some of the plot line stuff. And on purpose, I'm sure, but I mean, it's just a feel good, fun movie, and I can't spoil it. But the ending, yeah,
Yeah, see, like when Justin and I were talking about this last week, like he feels the same exact way. He loves the movie just like you. After talking to him, I feel a little bit better about it. Going in, I honestly was half and half. Like I didn't mind it, but I didn't hate it. I can see like exactly what you're talking about, how they were combining like different Christmas movies also. Mixture between like a Christmas story, definitely hit at. I don't know what other movies it was kind of mixed in, but I definitely got that Christmas story vibe to it.
yep.
It just there's some parts of it that just didn't grasp me, that just didn't hold me in it, I guess. There's a lot of relatable stuff, like the fact of how the parents were reacting with the Nintendo and stuff like that. If, of course, if anybody grew up like how we grew up in the early 90s, 80s, or late 80s, everything like that, you'll understand that parents back in the day, they were afraid of Harry Potter. Harry Potter is the devil. Harry Potter is
That
Satan.
is false. I got Harry Potter like right away.
But see, like where I grew up though, that's how it was. Like that's a lot of the news stories that came out. Like Harry Potter was evil, stuff like that. Nintendo will fry your brain. Though apparently I
Yeah,
could
and
be
look how we
wrong.
turned out.
Yeah, right, exactly. But apparently, like there was talk about how Virtual Boy now gives you like cancer or something like that because like the redness. I don't know. I heard
I
it
just remember
from
going into Toys R Us and going and playing with the Virtual Boy. They have the little test one. I never
yeah.
got one, but I always just remember going to Toys R Us and doing that. I just had
Yeah.
like the Game Boy, and I had everything but the Virtual Boy.
Yeah, see, I never actually had my hands on a Virtual Boy at all. We actually got my regular Nintendo system from my uncle. We just bought it from him. So that was my first experience of owning a Nintendo was that. I still have it too. And I still have the combination game where it has Duck Hunt mixed with Super Mario and the gun too, where the little zapper gun on there.
And that true story, that gun will not work unless you have an old tube TV.
Really? I didn't know that.
With the infrared, yeah. So if you have like a LCD plasma, you're out of luck.
Huh. I never knew that actually. So that's interesting. Well, now I
Back
know
to the
that it
day.
won't work on our TV now.
Yeah. So if
stinks.
you plug it in later and you're like, what the hell? I know.
So it has to do with the infrared?
Yeah, I can't remember exact terminology or what it comes down to, but it's just the electronics, like just the flat like glass screen as opposed to like, I don't know the exact reason, but I'm pretty sure it's just with the infrared because the gun it reflected off the screen. However it's set up, however it's coded or whatever.
Huh.
You could do some Googling, but that's in a nutshell. Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's a fun fact for today.
Yeah, another fun fact, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't name another movie that the Power Glove is used in besides The Wizard from I think '89 with little Fred Savage, little Corey Savage's older brother from Boy Meets World.
Yeah, you know what?
And Fred Savage from the Wonder Years fame as well.
I honestly can't think of unless if it has because I don't
I'm
think
sure
Stranger
there
Things.
was a movie I'm sure somewhere or a show, but I can't think of anything.
I can't think of anything now. Like the first instinct that I go to is maybe Stranger Things, maybe, but
Yeah,
they did more of D&D.
Yep.
They didn't really do a lot of video games at all.
They did. What was it? I can't think of Dragon's Lair.
Oh yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Yeah, in the first season.
Second season.
There you go. But yeah, like the movie itself, for some reason, didn't grasp me in some areas. But others it did. I do like the story. And of course, if you want to save from spoilers, you can. Last episode, we just kind of hinted as well as kind of gave a warning of when we did. But yeah, I like the story of how it took place, of how it was very similar to Christmas Story or Deadpool 2 when it was released with the whole story and talking about it to the kids. But or in Deadpool's case, a hostage, I guess, if I remember correctly. But I like that side of the story as well as the ending, because the ending I was not expecting at all.
Yeah,
and
what
it
the hell?
but it brought like a good feeling and a good message, I feel, to it, especially in today's society. Like, of course, Christmas Story gets the Red Ryder BB gun. This story kind of takes a different direction, but it's a good direction, especially the message that they're trying to point out too. And of course, if you grew up without those, or like nowadays kids have iPads, iPhones, like earlier age than what my was it pay to call or pay to text, the little Nokia
Hotline?
like hard phones. Yeah, like you would pay cards. Like that's all we had. Well, that's all I had as far as paying for minutes. So now kids nowadays have it easy. When back in the day, like we used to ride the bikes, we used to skateboard, we used to do a whole bunch of stuff. So it just kind of brings that sense of storytelling into, of course, what we weren't expecting.
Yeah, and it strikes a chord with me because like I remember everything by sports. That's kind of how Neil Patrick Harris and his dad's character remember things too. They're talking like, oh, the 84 Cubs and like the 85 Blackhawks in this game and that game. And this is when we did that. That's how my brain works for whatever reason.
Well, I mean, whatever helps like have you remember things is the best thing. Plus, not only that, but and it's a great way to remember too.
Well, that's why I didn't remember anything last year because there's no sports for a good chunk of the year.
So overall, though, you liked it. You enjoyed it.
Yeah, I 2 thumbs up, man.
Nice, very nice. Do you have any other like? Can you compare it to any other movie? Like, for example, I use Christmas Story like a combination to it.
That's a
Can you think of
big
any
one.
movie that it kind of brings into?
Oh, it's kind of gonna sound weird, but it kind of reminded me of like Good Boys. I didn't think was gonna be that good of a movie. Like when I saw the trailer, not even though I think Seth Rogen produced it, but it's hilarious, and it kind of gave me not as extreme as Good Boys, but also kind of just the kids' characters, kind of a little bit like that, and just I don't
Okay,
know.
yeah,
I'd have to rewatch it to kind of pick up on everything, but just like throughout the movie, I was like, okay, Christmas Story here, maybe a
yeah.
little Christmas vacation. They're just like little subtleties, you know.
Okay, yeah. Like, have you seen Santa Inc?
I have not.
Yeah, neither have I. Kind of
Nor have I
took
seen
it.
Velocipaster, but I have heard of it.
See, Velocipaster. Now first Santa Inc. We kind of discussed it last week, but of course that's going to be used for the podcast, not so much the YouTube video, because we compare that to 8-Bit Christmas a lot and kind of like hit it hard. But Santa Inc. I personally I don't have any interest in seeing it. And it's a Seth Rogen thing. As far as I love his movies, it's just I don't know, maybe the animation. But Velocipaster though, my wife and I we started watching it, and then halfway through it, kind of shut off because she was like, I'm done. I'm done. Like, but we have to finish it because it is like one of the more popular movies on Amazon. And it's a low budget too. And it definitely shows that low budgetness to the movie. So if you're interested, we can always come on the show again, talk about Velocipaster. Again, it's just it's a 2-hour movie, but it's very much
I don't know how you make that a
budget.
2-hour movie, but good for them.
Yeah, it's so basically what the premise is a pastor. Go figure.
I read the description.
Oh, you read the description?
Yeah.
Yeah, and how he finds the actual fossilized claw and he gets cut. So it's like a werewolf thing. So except with the Velociraptor. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I've watched some of those. There's sometimes I'm like, I just don't have the time to watch this, but like I'll just see a movie like like Crocodile versus Python or like Monster versus Beast. It's like, okay, it's the same thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're gonna go cheesy, just go really cheesy.
Yeah, I think the one movie that actually came out on top of like that type and style of movies are, of course, Sharknado.
Yeah. Yeah, and that worked out pretty well for them.
Yeah, it did. And the fact that they were on to 6
like 8 movies later.
No, yeah,
that's a lot though. Remember, it was like
Sharknado in space.
Yeah, they're almost caught up to Fast and Furious.
Yeah, basically, and a lesser time frame too.
Yeah.
All right, my friend, you ready to rock and roll and get into the year 1991?
Let's do it, brother.
All right, well, let's go ahead and jump back in time to 1991 and let's get this list hammered, get it done, and do it the only way that we know. And with that in mind, of course, here we are, 1991. This is the segment of Back in Time, where we go back in time to discuss the top 5 TV shows, cartoons, toys, movies, everything in that nature. And with that, of course, first off is TV show. TJ, if you would like to do the honors.
I was gonna say we should have gone into that segment with so yeah, looks like we got first up 60 Minutes, huh? 24th season already in 91, huh? No offense, 60 Minutes, but never been a fan. Always sounds so boring. And maybe, I mean, they have good interviews and stuff. I know
They
that.
do.
But I mean, it's boring. Like how they're like, and after the football game, 60 minutes, and then it's a clock ticking. And I'm like, okay, that does not interest me at all. Like, turn it off. So no offense, but new marketing for 60 Minutes. But although everyone knows what the intro is for 60 Minutes, so
yeah, like 60 Minutes to me, and it's kind of like sports, where do we add it, do we not add it? Because it is in a way like a news cycle, similar to a news cycle, but also they provide great interviews too. So it's one of those things like, okay, it can be taken as like, a TV show, but it can also be taken as a news station too. And the whole thing with the clock going, tick, 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 tick. I don't know why, but it always wants to put me to sleep.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's watching football on CBS. It's like my napping. I don't know why. And even Kevin Harlan is a great announcer, and he's usually on CBS, but I don't know. Ever since I was a kid, like any game that's on CBS, if it's not the Vikings, like it's like, oh, nap time.
That's fair.
I don't know what it is. I can't explain it, but I know we're not the only ones. I can guarantee you that.
Oh no, absolutely not. But hey, 24th season, more power to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, ready to go to number 2?
Yeah, you doing it? You want me to do it? We back and forth?
Go for it. Do the whole list.
The whole list. My goodness.
The whole TV show, sir.
Oh, the cartoons look so much more fun. Roseanne.
If you want to do the cartoons, I can finish it out.
Yeah, finish it out, man.
All right, I'll finish it out. All right, number 2, we have Roseanne, which would be on the 4th season of 1991. Of course, I'm a fan of John Goodman, great actor. Roseanne, the TV show itself, I've seen a few episodes as a kid.
Decent. Really I got on a big kick one time. Like I think it was like, I don't know, early mornings or something, or late nights. It was like on, and I was like, oh, and it was decent. It was always like the feel good story, and it was just not a typical sitcom, but you know what I mean. It just kind of had like you got the daughter who's in trouble or whatever, and then like, oh, come back home, and then it's like, oh, and it's sad, and everyone goes, oh, and then it's like, wait till what happens next season or next week. It's like, oh no,
What's going to happen? And then they leave you on a cliffhanger
yeah,
of the whole TV show of how apparently, if I'm remembering this correctly, he dies of a heart attack, right? And then when the new season gets picked up, like years later, that aired, I think like 5 years ago. I'm not quite sure. I'm probably getting the timing way off. But
I
of
think it was
course,
just a couple years ago, but yeah,
was it only a couple?
remember the reboot, and it was like, I never checked it out, so I can't.
Yeah, like they ended the old show on him having a heart attack, and when they revised it with the new show, then they of course had it to the point of, yeah, no, he's alive. It was just a dream. So that's kind of how they brought him back.
That's the way to do it. No, it's just a dream. Oh, didn't see that coming.
Well, I mean, it's an easy way to bring somebody back, I have to say. Like,
Easy way for somebody to die too if it's Nightmare on Elm Street.
That is very true. If it is Nightmare on Elm Street with a little
Although
bit of Freddy.
technically it wouldn't be a dream, would it? It'd be a nightmare. So that's my bad.
Number 3, we are circling with Murphy Brown. I don't know that show, unfortunately.
I can't say I do either, honestly. But I mean, every year I get older, I find something else out that I missed, and I'm like, apparently this was a big deal, and I thought I was pretty cultured.
Yeah, like I want to say it was something to do with like a judge show, but
that makes sense. I think that sounds a little familiar.
But I am probably extremely wrong. Actually, Murphy Brown is a star reporter of FYI, a news magazine series. Murphy is a sarcastic, ambitious, often self-involved and bossy, but she is also dedicated and ethical. She and her coworkers, including Jim, Frank, and Corky, are often at one another's throats, even though they care about one another. So it actually is a news station show.
Hey, they got 4 seasons at least out of it, so
they did get at least 4 seasons. Let's see here. I'm looking for any notable cast. I mean, the main star was Candace Bergen, which I believe I've heard her name throughout. But it doesn't look like there's anything as far as maybe Faith Ford, but it doesn't look as far as any known individuals, kind of like how the next series, Cheers, brought us a few of the famous actors. One can be seen, of course, now in Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And of course, Cheers. I've been to the bar in Boston. There are actually 2 locations.
It's not what you think, but it is awesome. It's a cool little, I mean, they got what do I want to say? I was gonna say the display, but yeah, like the actual layout of the bar upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then downstairs is just a cool little dive bar.
Yes, exactly. And actually, I didn't know this, but apparently there's 2 there. There's that restaurant that you and I are probably
there's one
about.
across or not across the street, but down the way on the other side of Boston. Yep. I didn't go to that one. I went to the one that we're talking about because that's like the original with the setup, but
yeah, the one that's across from the park.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice little park too.
Yeah, absolutely. And the food there was good too.
I think I had like a basket of fries, and just because I was in Boston, went in Boston, have a Sam Adams, which I'm not a big fan of, but I did. It tasted better in Boston. I'll give it that.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I had a burger there when I went, and it was pretty delicious. The merchandise there, of course, with Cheers, didn't watch too many episodes, so when I saw the merchandise, I was like, $30 for something that I didn't really watch when I was younger. I have no relative reference to it. Like, if you ask me about it, and then like, oh yeah, it's the show that Woody Harrelson came out of, and a few other known actors, but I couldn't give any references towards it. I couldn't say any cliche things from it either. So it's just one of those things, like, about it, but I just didn't watch a lot of it.
Well, and fun fact, I could be wrong on this and it could have changed, but I believe the highest grossing actor of all time, in theory, movie-wise, John Ratzenberger, is in Cheers.
Really? I did not know that.
Because of all the Pixar movies he's in, his all his movies have grossed billions and billions. He was number 1, I think, for a while.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember
you'll-
which Pixar films?
Like every one of them. Like he's the flea or the tick or whatever in Bug's Life. He's Ham in Toy Story.
He's that guy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, he's the truck and cars, the semi truck,
Yep.
right? Okay, now I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cliff and Cheers.
Huh. That's a little fun little side piece I didn't know about.
Cliff the mailman.
So then rounding out on the last bit is Coach, which was for its third season, which I don't know anything about Coach. Do you have any
It's
reference?
Craig T. Nelson, I believe. I never really watched it, but I do like Craig T. Nelson.
Remind me, who Craig T. Nelson?
Yes, sir.
Jerry Van Dyke was on there too. It looks like.
Say-
And then
Man.
Bill Figure Bake. I can't pronounce that last name, and I'm not going to butcher it either.
That's a good call, sir.
I do know. Okay, Craig T. Nelson. All right, yeah. So it is a football coach, the head coach in Minnesota. There you go.
Good
There you
old
go, TJ.
Minnesota. Yes, sir.
Minnesota State University Screaming Eagles for much of the series run. He was contended with a team that has seen better days, a couple of too bright assistant coaches, a partner who isn't half as obsessed with football, and all the rest of the situations that come along in Big Ten athletics. So, of course, Craig T. Nelson, a lot of people know. Jerry Van Dyke, I'm just going to assume, and I'm pretty sure my assumption's right, it's Dick Van Dyke's brother. And then Bill, if I remember correctly, Bill is actually the voice of, he's the voice of Patrick.
Nice. I looked it up, and he's not anymore. So Ratzenberger's number 4. But here's a nice little nerdy fun fact for you. Guess who number 1 is?
The highest paid actor?
Grossing like box office. So that's why Ratzenberger's up there, because all the Pixar movies with box office numbers.
I don't know.
Stan Lee.
Yeah, that's right, buddy.
All those cameos. That'll do it.
Yeah, and we're not talking about like the MCU cameos, but we're talking about early day cameos. I mean, look at Mallrats with Kevin Smith. He had them in there. I'm sure at some point some of the older Marvel, Incredible Hulk TV show too, like with Lou Ferrigno. I'm pretty sure he was in there too at one point, wasn't he?
Could be. I just know he's got that box office grossing definitely helped with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that wraps up the actual TV shows. And I didn't mention this in the beginning. The actual TV shows, the references that we got that from was the TVRatingsGuide.com. Again, we research all this to make sure that we provide the most accurate that we can, as far as the top 5 of every year. All right, TJ. So you won the top cartoons, my friend. It looked exciting, so go ahead and take it away.
Let's do it. One of my favorites actually is at the top of the list, Simpsons. Second season, it sounds weird because it started in 89.
Yeah.
But it must have had a break or late 89 or something. But second season, and we know they're what now, 32nd season. I know because I'm the same age as the Simpsons. So
yeah,
crazy. And I've seen a few of the newer episodes. I mean, it kind of lost its luster, I think, probably when I was like 14 or something. But then when it came back, like on FX, when it did that marathon in like 2014, I just was glued to the TV.
Dude, like it's shocking, and it's interesting to know 32 years later, you have the Simpsons. Like, you would think that they would run out of storytelling, but they haven't. Like,
no, I always think about, just think if Homer Simpson had to like type up a resume. Dude has done everything.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, the resume itself would be.
He's been a monorail driver. He's been to space. He's been a plow. Mr. Plow. I mean,
Mr. Plow.
And nobody knows what he does at the power plant still, but
yeah, no, I mean, he messes up a lot, but
eat some donuts.
Oh, Now I want a donut. Thanks. So with that though, like it's shocking because you would think that they would run out of storytelling as far as because look at one of my favorite TV shows, How I Met Your Mother. By the last season, it was just done. You could tell that flatline type of like show, which is sad because like it was such a good TV show, and there were time moments during the last season, but you could tell that they were running out of ideas, I guess, in a way, or running out of that nature. And The Simpsons is just, I don't know if it's the fact that, the show itself is only 30 minutes, but you can't really say it's because it's 30 minutes because look at other TV shows that went a few seasons and then, kind of died down. Family Guy is kind of close, but at the same time, though, it's that running joke where Family Guy is stealing stories from The Simpsons too. So, well, I shouldn't say stealing because it's not really stealing. They just play off, right?
Yep.
Because of all the creative minds, they kind of play off one another. Like you have inspiration from one thing to another. Dune, Star Wars. Look at the inspiration that Star Wars gathered from Dune itself. So like you could see the comparisons there, but Simpsons, it was a TV show that in the very beginning, I wasn't really allowed to watch because of the crude humor and everything like that. But over time, like it was just one of those things where I started watching it more. Parents started watching it a little bit more, and they just didn't really care at that point. But no, like The Simpsons, look at Universal. They have its own Simpsons land. So, which is
And Duff Beer.
and Duff Beer, yes, and Flaming Moe's. I have to say though, every single time, and you know this, like when you and I went to Universal, I always it's a staple for me that I go to the Simpsons location and I have a clogger.
Yep.
And then of course a Duff Beer for you, which to me, it definitely has its different flavor. But that diet cola that they have there, I forgot the name. Yeah, Buzz Cola. Buzz Cola just tastes like Diet Coke to me.
Well, and Duff tastes like a Heineken kind of, but it's Duff, so it's just that much better.
All right, my friend. What's number 2?
Dog Man. That brings back some memories. I actually been watching that with Paramount Plus lately.
Really? It's on there?
Oh, Paramount Plus has all the old stuff. Oh, which it brings me to the next 2 actually, Rugrats and Ren and Stimpy, both on Paramount Plus, along with Angry Beavers, Real Monsters. Those aren't on the list, but those are on Paramount Plus. Like all the old
Really?
Nickelodeon catalog. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, like we're thinking about getting Paramount Plus, but we also have to discuss on okay, what's going away, what's keeping because I have HBO
Yeah, I have
Max.
like everything, and I'm like, where's all my money? That's probably just in streaming services. So good for you guys. You got me.
So
But on the Doug note, I mean, we all like the best years, no offense, Disney, but it wasn't the same after Disney took it over.
no.
Nickelodeon, that's where the Doug was.
Yeah, like of course Disney had the on-stage show at Hollywood Studios. Never watched it, know of it, but it's the humor was different and you could tell.
Oh yeah, and Nickelodeon was that great documentary. If you haven't seen it, by the way, there's the Orange Years, I think it's called.
Okay.
I think it's on Hulu. Maybe
Mhm.
I can't keep track of so many streaming services I have. But yeah, it's about like Nickelodeon up and coming and like how they were a little edgier. And
true.
yeah, great little documentary. Gives you all the feels, all the nostalgia.
I may have to watch that now because I saw it, but I had no interest. Like, oh, okay, it's about Nickelodeon, but I don't know. Talking about the shows and everything, it kind of makes me want to watch it now, especially if you said that brings back the nostalgia and everything. Like, who doesn't like nostalgia?
Yeah, well, and I can't believe that same year was Dog, Rugrats, and Ren and Stimpy, all premiere seasons.
Yeah,
And
it's
Rupert rounding out the list.
Rupert was.
I haven't Rupert in forever.
He was a bear, wasn't he?
I believe so.
Or am I thinking of somebody else? Or is Rupert?
Well, that's Paddington Bear. What am I thinking of? I'm gonna give it the old Google.
Okay.
Oh, he was that. He was that. Oh, that's right. He was a little the like Scottish bear or whatever.
Yeah.
He's the classy bear.
Yeah. Okay.
You'll know when you see it. I remember that, but I didn't watch it much. I don't think.
Yeah, I didn't watch it much either. Between that list, of course, the most would have been the Rugrats. Even though, of course, wasn't really. I was allowed to watch it. It was kind of frowned upon. Of course, living in a very, conservative family. There's certain things. It was all about Disney. So
I never really watched Ren and Stimpy because
same.
I thought it was more. I thought it was like my parents like grew up with it or something. Because I think I remember my dad watching it.
Hmm.
But and I had like I'll never forget. I had Ren and Stimpy like it was like a scratch and sniff, like a field book, like it had like fur, and it was. I think it's sitting around somewhere, but it was a little edgier. We'll say. I don't want to say
Yeah.
raunchy, but there was a scratch and sniff, but then it was like it smelled like cat pee or kitty litter or something like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It was I've been meaning to like go back and watch it and see like what I miss, or because I mean I know like everyone knows happy joy and stuff, but I just
Hmm.
never watched a ton of it.
Or the superhero Toast Man.
Oh yeah. Well, and then on that note, I've been watching Rocco's Modern Life every once in a while, and that's on Paramount Plus too. It's a great show. There's some adult humor in these shows, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that, my parents caught versus when I was younger. Because even today, like we were talking about Bluey last week with the episode where the dad, I'll make this short, like Bluey is on Disney Plus and it's great for kids and even has some adult humor too. Like in the very beginning of one episode, it's the dad and they're all dogs. And it's the family of two sisters too, like an older sister Bluey, younger sister Bingo. In the very beginning of the episode, you see the dad like on his side, like plunging the toilet and asking, "Oh man, what are these kids eating?" So it's like an adult would get that. The other one too is their friends on the way. The friend's dad calls her very special, like uh, yeah, just called her special. And throughout the whole episode, she's a brat to like Bluey and her sister and Bingo. And then they complain. The dad gets wind of it. The dad goes over to his daughter, the friend of the two girls, and he basically says, "So and so, you know how I told you that you're special?" And she was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, you're not special." So it's just humor of that nature, like an adult can catch up on. The Ren and Stimpy show, like as a kid, I wouldn't catch certain things, but my parents did. So going back to the whole raunchiness of it, like when I watch it now, like, oh, okay, I get that now.
Missed a
And
lot when we were younger.
yeah, we did. And then of course, Rocco's Modern Life was I was able to watch that a little bit more so than Ren and Stimpy, but still same thing. Even Rugrats had a little edginess to it. I mean, look at the first movie, the Rugrats movie, when his brother Dill gets born. If I remember correctly, it's basically coming out of the womb. It's like coming out of the womb, and now you're up at a doctor. Like, I it's one of those things like as a kid you want to catch it, but as an adult you're like, oh, they actually got away with this.
That's a little different these days, I feel like, but I haven't watched many cartoons either. But
Yeah, that's true. It's same, like the only cartoons that we've really watched is what our daughter watches. Wanting to watch a little bit more adult cartoons like South Park, but of course it moved from HBO Max to Paramount Plus, so kind of have to decide on that.
Paramount Plus has been my go-to lately. Pretty solid. Although I have every one of them, so if I get bored, I just go to the other one.
Very true, very true. And where does what was that list located? Where was all the information gathered from?
Oh, the nickelodeon.fandom.com/wiki. Or I should say /wiki/1991.
Awesome. And with that, we'll bring it up to the top toys, which was all information was found on hbomax.com. A little side note, multiple sites used for building lists from repetition. So these are not in order, though we do have the prices of them back in the day, which, I would be happy to pay for a number one Super Nintendo for $200. I would love to pay for a gaming system that costs that much now, rather than the influx of 500 plus that we have to pay now.
And if it's available.
And it's available, yeah, like back in the day, no issue. Now there's an issue.
Yeah.
Do you have any other new gaming systems at all, or no?
I actually got a PS5. I got it from the Amazon Treasure Truck. And since with COVID, they weren't actually doing physical locations, so they just
Okay.
you're able to get it. They just ship it. So Treasure Truck used to be like, hey, we're gonna be at Whole Foods from 4 to 6 p.m. here, and here, like 2 to 4 here and 1 to 2 here, whatever.
Yeah.
And they just have random deals on things and never. I think there was one that I told my buddy about. It was like a beer growler, like mini tap thing. Like he'd fill it. It was a growler, but it kept it cold. And I think it had nitro too or something to make it like smoother.
Okay.
But he picked one up at a Treasure Truck. But yeah, long story short, Amazon delivers all the Treasure Truck stuff, and I got a text, and usually I delete them or ignore it. And then I was like, "We have a PS5 in the Treasure Truck." I'm like, "No," and I clicked right away, and it was like, "Error. Sorry, this page should not be like, oops, something went wrong." And so I tried like 6 more times, 7 more times, and it popped up. Then I added it to my cart, and voila. I will say, I'm happy to have one, but I haven't utilized it enough yet. I think it's still lacking games. But next year it's going to be with God of War and stuff, and then the new Spider-Man coming out.
Yes. Yeah.
And Spider-Man, I mean, I'm sure there's some games for other people, and obviously people are playing stuff, but nothing over the top for me yet that I've really been like, I haven't got my money's worth yet. I'm sure I will, but as of now, no.
Yeah, like we did we're getting the new Xbox, bought it on the Microsoft Store and stuff. So with that, I can understand that in that case, because for some reason, and that kind of brings us to the topic that we had in previous episodes too, where back in the day you had the NES and then you had the Super NES. The Super NES I think came out 2 years after the NES, and with that it brought a whole bunch of new additions to it, like graphics involvement and better graphics and everything like that. Nowadays, like an easiest comparison is look at the Xbox versus the Xbox now, like huge graphic comparison.
Sounds like you got a disagreeer.
Yeah, hold on. All right, so yeah, like the Xbox One we got on the Microsoft Store. But yeah, no, I agree, because like I was saying before, like you go from Xbox, the first Xbox, to this one, like drastic graphic difference, drastic. You go back in the day, that's how it was with the NES, the Super NES, the Nintendo 64, like you would have your drastic changes.
It's crazy though. Here's something interesting. At least I find interesting. Well, I get it, but hear me out. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, and maybe it's just nostalgia. Those games all hold up still.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But like if you go from like Xbox One games or PS5 games to like the original PlayStation or Xbox, you're like, eh.
Yeah, and see that's the thing, and that's good that you brought it up, because like the whole brings about your PlayStation 5, and the Xbox that we're getting. Like those games that we can get can play on the regular PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. Like those games could still play there. Yeah, the graphics are a little better, but you want newer games, like the new Halo game that's coming out. Okay, great, fantastic. But then you go past that or before that, and it's really just games that you can play on the Xbox One and have great graphics.
And like I said, maybe there's games out there for other people, but I'm just not, for me as the average video game player. Like I want a new God of War. I want the new Cyberpunk. That looked cool, but I heard so many glitchy things about it. Like I feel like they rushed out like super systems, you know,
Mhm.
with the PS5, Xbox One,
Yeah.
and they didn't have the games for it, and even the games couldn't keep up because they're trying to rush. So
Yeah.
I think next year should be good, or a start, because I think God of War comes out next year, and it looks
Mhm.
awesome. And I
Yeah.
spent hours
Oh,
playing
yeah.
that on PS4.
Yeah. Ragnarok. Like I've been wanting to play a God of War game. Never just came around to it. Like I wanted to get the new God of War game that came out. It was like $20 at Target, and I just never came around to it.
It's so
And
fun.
it seems like it's so much fun. And even with being not a person who's ever played it, I love them. Like I've literally never stepped foot into that game.
I think I played like the
Metaphorically.
first one. I think my buddy had like the trilogy collection or something at one point and let me
Mhm.
borrow it. I never beat them all, but then
Mhm.
when the new God of War came out, I'm like, this looks sweet, and I spent hours on it, beat the whole game, and then I started doing like side stuff too. And then there's one spot where you have to beat like 100 opponents before you can go on to like the last boss or something, or one of the Valkyries or whatever it was.
Mhm.
And that frustrated the shit out of me. It took a lot of energy out of me because I'm like, I gotta beat it at this point, and I get like 95 opponents in or enemies
Mhm.
in, and I die, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Well, don't ever play that one game that's I'm blanking on the name right now, but it's basically the medieval game, and it's really really hard to beat.
Well, I played Bloodborne. That was exhausting as well, and it was awesome. Like the best $10 I ever spent. I'd never stepped into like the Dark Souls
That's it, Dark
universe,
Souls.
but yeah. So Bloodborne's like a spiritual successor, kind of, I think, of Dark Souls.
Hmm.
Like the first level, I was dying every 5 seconds, and then I started figuring it out. But at the end of the day, you just had to kind of level up and hope you didn't mess up because it was
You get wrecked.
it was the most frustrating but also rewarding game I think I've played in a while.
And see, that's the thing is that's the
But
whole
if I
point.
was still playing it right now and not beating it, still sucking the boss, I would probably just throw all
Chuck
my
it.
systems out the door. Yeah, see you later.
Yeah, so with that, of course, the Super Nintendo though, that brought a lot of nostalgia to it. Going back to that key factor is, Super Nintendo. I played the crap out of some Mortal Kombat 2, some Super Mario. Uh, Never got a chance to play a little bit of Metroid, but yeah, like it was good. It was good. Super Nintendo with some good years. Same with the N64, some good years. Um, and number two is my Pay 2 robot. I don't remember that at all. That one cost 55. Number three, do you remember that?
I don't. I'm gonna look it up because I got nothing. But keep going. You're good. I'm listening.
Number three is Crimp and Curl Cabbage Patch Kid for $30. I mean, everybody knows the Cabbage Patch Kid. A TMNT Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Technodrome playset for 50.
Oh, dude, you'll remember this. I think.
My Pay 2 robot.
Was it My Pal 2?
It could be My Pal 2.
See if this shows up. You'll probably remember this. Are these guys? I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it.
Mm,
Oh, that was close. You're gonna have to look
it
it up.
was close. It was close. That's okay. I can.
You'll remember. I never had one, but I remember it or seeing it anyways.
Okay, yeah, no, I've actually never seen this before. So okay, so for everybody who cannot see, I'll add the photo up later. But it looks like,
A little talking robot. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I remember the commercials and stuff. I think, but
and
Ninja Turtles though, yeah, I remember that all
yeah,
day.
the Technodrome. Oh, absolutely. Like that's one of the things I've always wanted to, or not wanted to, but wanted to actually play with. Is the Technodrome, because my uncle had the
I think I had
the
the
van.
helicopter, and I had the van, the helicopter, and uh, some of the action figures. I used to have like a Ninja Turtles suitcase that like fit action figures think I like lost most of them, and I think I have just like Leonardo left.
Okay.
And I think I have
Wow.
like a Michelangelo from like the Turtles 3 movie. Well, speaking of Super Nintendo, Turtles in Time, great game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like it it's one of those games that was remade. Like it was a fantastic game. It's still a lot of the games, like some of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games nowadays, they kind of follow that formula too. Like as far as Turtles in Time and stuff goes, um, it I'll always remember that game and I'll always love that game. Let's see, number 5, rounding out the actual last one. And I didn't know this because I didn't think it was actually that popular, but it was Swamp Tramp. Yeah, it's a Swamp Tramp.
I remember that stuff.
Swamp Trap Swamp Thing playset for 15.
Yeah, and good luck getting it now. I was just looking, and it's like on eBay for like $400.
Oh, see, like
It's probably in the box though, which like
oh yeah,
I don't know. That doesn't piss me off, but it's kind of annoying. Like that collectibles like stay in the box. Like what's the point? Like can you imagine a little kid? Like yeah, I'd probably have a lot of money if I didn't open any of my toys, but it's like that's not the point.
yeah, and like
It's cool for collections and stuff, but I don't know. And I can't get mad. It's genius that people do that, but it's like the whole point of it was to play with it.
yeah, and I mean I
Like
have stuff that's
it's in the wording. Play set. Something. Play set.
you need to play with it. You need to play with the toys.
If it was collect a set or something, then that's different.
Could you? I mean, I guess nowadays they kind of do that, like special edition collectors items, stuff like that. So where it kind of tells you to keep it in the box in a way. But back in the day, they never said that at all. And I agree. Like I wouldn't have kept it in box. I mean, I have the what is it, Cerebro, or it's an X-Men toy where if you open it, it's basically the lair of the X-Men, and it used to come with little die-cast X-Men figures as well.
I remember I think I had it's probably still somewhere. I had Juggernaut, I think, and it was like metal. Like they were heavy for being that little.
Yeah, they were pretty heavy. Like I don't have the box, but I have the toy itself. And the box, I think it's going for a little over 100. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, like I used to play with it all the time, like because as a kid you just don't collect them. I mean, the ones that are in the box are probably adults back in the day that bought them, that kept them, passed it to their kid, and now their kid actually has it. Because if you ask me back in the day, hey, do you like Swamp Thing? Who? Like my introduction to Swamp Thing wasn't until I actually got in comic books. So I didn't actually know about that toy until I got the list from Steven specifically. Like I had no idea that was actually a thing back in the day.
Oh, well, I remember it. I don't think I had it, but I do remember it.
See, you're just more cultured than what I was.
I guess so, man.
And there's nothing wrong with that either. All right, my friend, you ready to do the top 5 movies?
Let's do it.
All right, so I think the last time I did it, so go ahead, my friend, you take over. Right. You do the movies
via a source of boxofficemojo.com. Well, let's start with the honorable mentions, which kind of surprises me actually. For 91, Beauty and the Beast. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. Great movie.
My favorite.
Surprised it's not higher on the list, but I mean, this way it's honorable mentions. Hook, great movie too. The Rocketeer and Goodfellas, all tremendous movies.
Yes, absolutely.
But now, top 5. Interestingly enough, one of my favorites, Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Remember when we went to go see that in the theaters?
Yes, I do. Great time. And I fell asleep, and then I woke up, and then I finished my beer.
If I remember correctly, you didn't make it past partial of the opening credits.
I disagree. I got through a little bit, but that was a long day.
Yeah, we did a whole day at Universal.
And that's I'm like Newton's law. That's I call it TJ's blah. Like TJ in motion stays in motion. TJ at rest will stay at rest.
Yeah, because we hit it early at Universal, I think,
As usual.
as usual, and then we ended the day. And I think this movie, when we went to
It was
see
late.
it was playing at like midnight.
Yeah. And I'm like, do you want to go? And you're like, okay. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Well, actually, I wasn't sure at first, if I remember correctly. I wasn't sure if I wanted to because it was so late. And then you're like, oh, come on, I'll buy your ticket. I'll buy your ticket. Like, all right. And then like the one that really wanted to go ended up sleeping a little bit after the credits. And if I remember correctly, you slept through the whole movie, right?
Not the whole thing, but I got a little power nap in, put it that way.
Yeah, you did get a little power nap too, because I remember looking over, I was like, oh, and then just still watched the movie. Just
Well, they're
eyes straight.
comfy chairs, man. And it was dark, long day. And I've seen the movie a million times, but I think it was expensive too, because I mean it's a Universal theater, so of course.
Yeah.
Oh well. Memories.
Memories.
Number 2 on the list is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I think I saw it like once. That's Costner, I believe, and then Bryan Adams has the infamous song. I can't remember if he won a Grammy for that or not, but I think he got nominated.
And then Christian Slater too was in the movie.
Oh man, life was simpler when Christian Slater was around.
Could be the tagline.
He's still around, but yeah. Number 3, Home Alone. Actually got Home Alone shirt on.
Nice.
How's your girlfriend? Number 4, Silence of the Lambs. Good movie. Hello, Clarice. And number 5. Tell me you've seen this, Todd. Tell me you've finally seen this.
Well,
City Slickers. City Slickers.
Well, see the thing. I'll let you know in a little bit. Now, Silence of the Lambs, love it, enjoy it. Saw all 3 of the movies, Hannibal, and then Red Dragon is another one. Didn't watch the TV show. Home Alone. I didn't want to tell you this before we actually did the list. From what I remember, I have not seen Home Alone in its whole entirety.
I'm ending this call.
I have seen I shouldn't say I've seen clips. Like I've seen the movie, but not enough to actually remember to the point where we'll say, yes, I've seen the whole movie. Because I know I've seen the movie.
That should be a felony in every state in the United States.
Maybe I should have done that one.
In the whole world.
Obviously, Terminator 2, same thing. Robin Hood, bits and pieces, but Terminator 2, when I said same thing, conversation from earlier. But with that, I will answer your question in our next segment, which is, let's sell us a movie. You sell me a movie. Let me sell you a movie. Just let's sell a movie.
I'm going to sell you a movie.
Hello there, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and children.
All right. So, sell me a movie. This is where we take the top 5 movies. TJ picks a movie. I pick a movie. We don't know who picked what through our algorithm. It kind of just shoots us one or the other. But what we try to do is we try to watch movies that we've never seen before. Sometimes the list goes to the point of where we've seen all top 5. Like I know TJ has seen all 5 of these movies, so he has full roam on what to actually watch and be able to sell. I, on the other hand, unfortunately, there's only one movie I haven't really watched at all. And of course, I'll debut that here in a minute. TJ, do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I want you to go first.
All right. And count me down.
3, 2, 1.
All right. So the movie I actually picked, and it was either one of those things like you watch the movie or I'm not doing the show, is City Slickers. So I did watch it. And it was enjoyable. It was directed by Ron Underwood, Tremors, and Mighty Joe Young. Those are the 2 movies that he's done. It stars Billy Crystal. Obviously, you'll know him from When Harry Met Sally, Monsters, Inc., Analyze This, Jack Palace. Daniel Stern, of course, going through that Home Alone. He was Marv from Home Alone. I had to look that up. When I saw him, I was like, hey, that guy looks familiar. Overall, it's about city slickers, the New York City type-esque individuals who go to a dude ranch, basically, and learn the ropes of being a cowboy. It has a whole heart to this movie, absolutely, and it definitely is relatable. Billy Crystal's character, he starts off with trying to find who he is again. Like, yeah, he's married, yeah, he has a happy life with his wife, but his work has gotten him down. Like, he's kind of lost who he is, or he wants to find himself again, find that next thing to make him feel worthy, or make him feel valued as an individual. And that's the whole point of this movie. Is you go to the dude ranch, he learns a few ropes. Yeah, you have your humor from here and there, because it's a city slicker type of individual who goes to dude ranch. The same guy who goes out to herd cows. He does his own little coffee thing, his coffee grinder. And now where you all position the cows, now they're all running because of the coffee grinder actually scaring them because of that noise. Now they have to round them up all over again. Most of the people, or some of the people, are in their pajamas. Some of them are actually in clothes. So there are moments like that where you could say, okay, you could kind of relate to, or actually humor wise as well. Unfortunately, besides the movies mentioned, there's not enough Billy Crystal in the world. There needs to be more Billy Crystal. He needs to have a comeback. But if you haven't seen this movie, though, I would highly recommend it, only because of the fact that it's one of those movies that can easily go unnoticed. And there's also sequels too. So if you think that this movie was a bad movie, or if it did a bad movie, or it was a bad movie, just watch it again, have a new outtake on it, because again, they wouldn't have made City Slickers 2 and I think 3 if this one didn't succeed and if it wasn't watchable. So again, highly recommend it. Go and watch it. And again, get your love with Billy Crystal right then and there.
Sold. You had me at City Slickers.
And I had like 5 seconds left, and now the timer's going slow. There we go. Yeah, so I did watch it. But of course, we could discuss that a little later, because one thing that we've learned to do is try to sell a movie, and then the other person help sell it for them. So with that, I will go ahead and count down for you, sir. And 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, you got too much time for selling movies. I'm just gonna have to ramble because I don't need time to sell you this. Home Alone, bro. I'm selling you Home Alone. You get Daniel Stern, you got Joe Pesci, you got Macaulay Culkin, everyone's favorite little kid growing up. You've got heart, you've got character, warm feelings, great food, pizza, macaroni and cheese. You got a kid's dream of staying home alone, not on purpose, which is why it's ironic and funny. And how it all happens. Everything, the movie's quotable. It's feel good at the end of the day. You even get a little cameo from John Candy. What more do I need to say? Amazing movie, and it takes place during the best time of the year, Christmas time, and it's like one of the most iconic Christmas movies of all time. Is it watchable throughout the year? Sure. Is it the same? No. I mean, if I'm watching it in July, not the same. But once like Thanksgiving hits, that time of year, that little transition in Christmas, all day, I'll watch it over and over again. And I mean, it's kind of weird that I'm selling you this movie, but I'm in my Home Alone sweatpants, pajama pants, whatever, and my Home Alone shirt. I don't care, but that's what I'm selling you. This is the first time I can guarantee you on this podcast somebody has been wearing the attire from the movie and selling you the movie. Boom, sold.
All right, and with that, we're at 1 minute and 37 seconds.
Not as quick as the last one, I don't think, but I tried.
No, but
yeah, I'm wearing the attire from the movie and selling you a movie. That's selling right there.
Say I wasn't
Selling 101.
thinking. I thought that you would go with Terminator 2, so it's kind of ironic that I mentioned about don't remember watching Home Alone in its entirety, and you selling Home Alone. So
well, now you got to go watch it.
That I do, and that kind of just furthers to the point of we don't know what each other is selling, because that reaction was pure. Like I had no idea that you're doing that, so it was very ironic.
Terminator 2 is an easy sell too.
It is, yeah, it is
Actually,
very much.
If I was gonna sell it, I wouldn't sell it because of, like, it's actually what the future holds for us, because we're all gonna get taken out by Skynet.
Yeah, yeah. And today, and how everything's gone right now, yeah, probably,
Yeah.
probably. And with that, of course, it brings the show to a close. We would like to thank you for tuning in. We'd also like to thank you all for the support. Again, go ahead and follow us, like us on social media, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as, again, check out the store, see if there's a shirt that you like. If there's not, then just support, even with the simplest as a sticker, just a little bitty sticker. It does support us in some way, as again, all profits go towards the independent filming, podcasting, everything that this actually is trying to do for everybody who's a part of it, creating that, wanting to create that job where you go in and you love what you do and you have fun with what you do. So again, link for the merchandise is in the description below. What movie do you think is the best between the two of us? Who sold you it best? What random year do you want us to see us do? Go ahead and leave a comment below. And TJ, thank you so much for being a part of this today. I can't tell you how much and how thankful we are. And again, we sure do miss Lee. Hope he has a great holiday season. And with that, TJ, I know last time that you're here, you're kind of promoting Rock Detention. Once again, let people know who and how they can actually follow you and stay close to you.
You're too kind. Well, thanks for having me, man. Pleasure. That's fun talking nostalgia. I've had some good years with 89 and 91, so I'll keep it rolling. Yeah, if you guys want to follow our podcast, Rock Detention, we're at Rock Detention, Instagram. We have Twitter, but we never post there, so don't worry about it. Facebook is Rock Detention Podcast. We're on, Spotify, Amazon Music, or what all the podcast stuff, all the platforms. And then YouTube, it's just Rock Detention. We should be like the first thing that comes up. And otherwise, it's youtube.com/Rock Detention. We have our own handle now. We're somebody, but just done with a little episode this past week. We try to go weekly, but nobody's perfect, especially with schedules, as Todd can attest to as well, and all their technical difficulties. But yeah, anyways, there's my cell. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you with another show of where we go to the 2000s. So with that, you guys have a great day, and so long.